Thank you, Gwen, and thank you everyone for being here this morning and also for watching us online. Really appreciate it. Okay, cautionary statement, please take a look on our website and review that there. All right, so Nuclear Fuels is a US-focused in-situ recovery roll-front uranium-focused company. It is lower grade than the Athabasca, but it's also a lot lower cost, and that's really where our key focus is in. Our key project is the KC project in Wyoming. A couple other projects there we'll talk about, and elsewhere in the US. We have a very novel path to production at KC through a earn-in agreement with a potential earn-in agreement with Encore Energy, which is a ISR producing company in the US as well. That's kind of key. Capital structure, our market cap right now is about 30 million. We are trading around, I think, 49 cents as last record. What's, I think, unique about us as an exploration company is 40% of our shareholder base is institutional investors. These are people who usually come in as companies are making production decisions and building things. We have an awful lot of similar investors to what you'd see in the Encore investor list. We also have Encore as an 18.3% investor, as well as significant insider and management holdings. So that's about 68% of our stock right there. So pretty tightly held. We did a financing back in January for $6.4 million. It was a bought deal. Again, very unusual for an advanced exploration co. So we're funded for exploration. We've got the right people in behind it. We've got an exceptional board. Bill Sheriff, again, co-founder, also chairman of Encore Energy. Following down and through this story, we've got a board of directors with a lot of experience in uranium exploration. We're focused on in-situ recovery uranium here in this talk. It's a unique way to produce minerals with very low impact and very low environmental disturbance. And because of that, it is also easier to permit. We don't have any mills, we don't have tailings piles, waste piles, we don't have tailings ponds, things like that to permit. So it's quicker and much more effective to go in. We're pumping oxygenated water into the ground, withdrawing uranium-enriched water, running it across a resin bed, returning clean water back into the aquifer. Focus of assets. Would be primarily in Wyoming. KC, again, is our cornerstone assets. It's located in the Powder River Basin. Down to the south, we have Bobcat in the Shirley Basin, which we'll talk a little bit about, the basin at least, and then Boot Heel, which is just south of the Shirley as well. We also have an ISR amenable project in northwest Arizona called Moonshine, which I think is pretty significant, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So here we are in the Powder River Basin. We are on the west side of the Powder River Basin in Wyoming at the Casey deposit. Powder River Basin is sort of ground zero for uranium ISR mining in North America. Gary Christensen Ranch, owned by UEC, they're going back into production. Nichols Ranch, Energy Fuels, it just made an announcement they're going back into production from standby. You look at there are other assets with Cameco that they're studying right now. Further to the south in the Shirley Basin, UR Energy has a deposit that they are putting into production now, brand new, and they are going to ship the resin from that as a satellite operation to the Lost Creek processing facility they have to the west. And that's kind of a key and interesting fact for us. Looking a little closer at the KC deposit, we did do some drilling there last fall, October, November, and into December actually. We had some great success in demonstrating historic resources were the grades that we were seeing in historic resources were significant and within line of what we were expecting. Expanding on those and stepping out and identifying an additional roll front to the southeast at the Saddle Zone. What we're doing there this year, we've got 2 drills on the ground. They are actually, we had a big rainstorm there last week, so it's a little muddy, so they've taken a couple days off. But those guys are going to be pushing really hard this spring and summer to work to expand on these two projects. One of my key things I'd like to do is fill in between Spur and Saddle, which are historic resource areas, and then also pushing off to the east from Saddle and to the north from Spur in those areas to build resources and also hopefully build into the 15 million pound target that we have. Encore Energy has a back-in right once we make a 15 million pound resource at KC. And with that, they will finance our 49% to production and also return 2.5 times our exploration dollars, which is very unique because it gives us a pathway to production without having to build a technical team. It also allows us to do so without fighting over finance and the dilution that relates to that. And it gives us funds to remain relevant as an exploration co whilst we are in that process. Wyoming is an exceptional place to permit ISR. It's an agreement state. That means the federal regulations devolve to the state level. The track record there is 2 to 3 years for permitting in mine. It takes about a year to build one of these operations. So we're looking at the potential for production in the near future as opposed to the never, never plan. And that's what gets me excited about this, is we're doing something concrete in a market that is growing and addressing a need as quickly as we can. I should actually say also the Powder River Basin historic production there is about 200 million pounds. And as again, there's a lot of ISR production there. De-risks the model, demonstrates that it has been done and it can be done. So again, what are we doing here? We are focused on primarily on the KC. We also do have historic resources at Boot Heel, about 1 million pounds indicated and 3 million pounds approximately inferred there. We would like to see those, do some drilling there this year and see if we can prove those up, and as well something similar down at Moonshine. We've got, I think, 3.6 million pounds not categorized there from Energy Fuels reports that we'd like to bring into compliance as well. So we'll look to do some drilling there hopefully this year. We're working on permitting at both of those locations as well. So an aggressive year focused on bringing news to the market, potentially building resources, at least identifying the scale of the resource and moving KC forward towards that 15 million pound target, and really looking to aggregate pounds and build towards production decisions on ISR assets in Wyoming. One of the other things that I would talk about here, this is actually from Cameco's chart. I don't subscribe to trade tech. I don't think that's good use of government, corporate money. However, you can see at this chart, spot price has gone down a little bit. You know, there's not quite as excitement in our space, but what you can see is the long-term price is going up and it's ramping up. And on Wednesday, actually, those two lines met, according to numerico.com, at $93.25. So they're intersecting for the first time in a very long time. And what that indicates is the long-term demand is really what's driving this. You're getting people like, conservative people like John Cash at UR Energy saying, yeah, we're going forward with development decisions at Shirley Basin. You've got people like Mark Chalmers at Energy Fuel saying, yeah, we are going to bring Nichols Ranch back online. And it's the long term that they're all watching. And, you know, so that speaks to this. We're looking at, we believe, a bull market that's not a few years. We're looking at decades. It's the right place, the right time to be in it. It's a good market. Appreciate your time today. If you're here, please stop by our booth. If you're looking at this online, send a note to info@nuclearfuels.energy and we'll get back to you. Any questions? We love to talk to our shareholders. We love to talk to prospective shareholders. We do our very best to reach out and return answers and things like that. I'd like to thank Gwen for her attention and support of Nuclear Fuels. I've had the privilege of working with Gwen, I think, since Northern Miner days in 2007, and it's been a joy along the way, and I look forward to seeing at all the great things she will do at West Red Lake. So thank you all today, and hopefully we'll see you at our booth with questions.